Hello, this is Caleb, Andrew, and Matthew. Today we're talking to you about the Patawatomi. So to start things off, the Patawatomi lived in southern Michigan as the youngest member of the Three Fires tribe. The Patawatomi weren't always peaceful, however. They had a strong hatred for the Americans, due to them forcing the tribe off of their land. Occasionally, they'd also be in wars with other tribes.
Andrew, why did they go to war?
They went to war for expansion of hunting grounds, or they were attacked for expansion of hunting grounds, or they were attacked for land, or, yeah.
Who did they go to war with?
They went to war with other Indian tribes, such as the Iroquois, British, Americans. Matthew, who were some of the Potawatomi chiefs?
So the Potawatomi had a couple of weird chiefs, like Shavehead. He was a guy who would kill people and shave their scalp off and keep it and collect it. And he had a necklace with 99 human tongues on it. And they also had another chief called the Winnemac. He was one of the only chiefs, Potawatomi chiefs, that was friendly to the Americans. Then they had the Meta, the Meta attacked troops of the British soldiers as they walked along the roads. So basically, he would sit in the bushes, and when the British troops went by, he would jump out of the bushes and attack them. Andrew, why was their population so low?
Their population was low due to attacks, war, and many diseases. And Caleb, what were some of those diseases?
The Patawatomi suffered from influenza, smallpox, yellow fever, scarlet fever, all sorts of things that the British had brought over that they weren't experienced to yet, so they didn't know how to handle it. Andrew, do you know of any customs that the Patawatomi had?
Yes, they had tobacco that they grew, and before growing season, they would spread tobacco all over their fields so their crops would be perfect once they grew. They thought it was a gift from the spirits to help their crops grow. What were their migration patterns?
So, the Potawatomi originally started along the East Coast until the British arrived, and when the British arrived, they kind of pushed them west, and so they continuously pushed west until they hit about Michigan. Once, during the American Revolution, then the Americans started to push them even farther west, trying to expand their territory. So then they got pushed all the way back into Wisconsin and around Montana and the northern areas and even farther west.
Andrew, can you talk about some of the tools and weapons that they used?
Yeah, they used a tomahawk. They used a war club, a wooden spear. They used the wooden spear mainly for spear fishing, so they could get their fish. And the war club was used for war. It was pretty much a club with like a ball socket at the end to hit with, and the tomahawk was used for war, for like hitting and stuff like that. It was like their knife.
Caleb, can you talk about some of the stories and legends that the Potawatomi had?
The Wendigo was gaunt to the point of emaciation, its desiccated skin pulled tightly over its bone, with its bones pushing out against its skin, its complexion the ash gray of death, its eyes far back into their sockets. The Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently risen from the grave. What lips it had were tattered and bloody, its mind unclean and suffering from the lust of human flesh. The Wendigo gave off the odor of decay and decomposition, of death and corruption. For one to become a Wendigo, they must be deemed unworthy by the gods or do a crime against humanity. Why do you think that the Patawatomi told their children the story of the Wendigo?
I think they told the story so that the kids would not, so the kids wouldn't misbehave, and the kids always acted good. Why do you think they tell the story?
I think they told the story so, like, just like what Matthew said, so that they could behave and know respect and show respect to other people. So if they did tell this story, they wouldn't. So then they would be fearful of the Wendigo and that they wouldn't want to become one. So they would become peaceful with other members of their tribe.
I agree with Andrew, where the Potawatomi wanted their children to be good people, so that ways they wouldn't become a Wendigo as a warning of a sign of what they could do as a bad person.
Andrew, do you have any stories for us?
Yeah. Another story that the Potawatomi, or legend that the Potawatomi told, was the water panther. It was a powerful mythological creature, something like a cross between a cougar and a dragon. The water panther is a dangerous monster that lives in deep water and causes men and women to drown. And some of the tribes would describe the water panther as the size of a real lynx or mountain lion, while in others the beast is enormous. Water panther has a very prehensile tail, which is often said to be made of copper. The tail has dagger-like spikes running along it, also along its back. So there once was a Potawatomi child that was walking along the ice, and he didn't know any better because he wandered off and he was a younger kid. So he started to walk out onto the ice, and he soon started to hear like a ruffling noise beneath the ice, and the ice started to crack, and the underwater panther jumped up and grabbed the child and pulled him under. And the child was never to be seen from that day on, and that's why they tell their kids to stay away from the ice and water without supervision of other Potawatomi people. Now, why do you think they told this story?
Well, basically, like you said, I think that they told this story so their kids would stay off the ice without supervision, so like they didn't want their children to get hurt. So they told their kids to stay off the ice and in the water so that obviously they wouldn't drown or anything.
I agree with you. Maybe it was to keep them off of the ice so that way they didn't fall through, and that they actually had somebody there with them to be a savior in case they fell underneath. What does the name Potawatomi mean?
Potawatomi means the people of the fire, or the Fire Nation. The name was created by the Ojibwa because the Potawatomi carried fire from place to place when they were migrating. But the Potawatomi called themselves the Anishinaabe, meaning people. So, Andrew, I heard that you know a place that you can go to learn about the Potawatomi.
Yeah, it's located in Wisconsin, Sturgeon Bay, and it's a state park, and there's this Potawatomi Tower, and it is a tower that the Potawatomi built, but it's rated 4 stars. Yeah, but Caleb disagrees that it's made by the Potawatomi.
Why would the Potawatomi have built that in 1932 if they weren't even in that area at the time? I did some research on it, and the website says that the Potawatomi Tower was built by the park rangers for people to climb up to see where they're at in the state park.
So the tower wasn't actually built by the Potawatomi. Andrew, do you have any information on what the Potawatomi lived in?
Yeah, they lived in igloo-shaped houses with fur or thick grass covered on it, along with sticks, and it was held together by string. And it may not seem like these houses or homes were capable of living conditions for Michigan's weather, but they actually were. They would withstand a lot of weather, snow, and rain. Thanks for listening to our podcast about Potawatomi. See us later. Yeah.
No, that's it. Wait, say yeah. Just say
Yeah. So, Matthew, what were their migration patterns?
I don't know.
Well, I have to still tell the story. I just said what it was like.
Oh, tell the story.
So, shoot. I don't know what to say.
So like kids would.
Yeah. So the water panther mainly is okay. I don't know. Okay, can you pause it? So Matthew, what does the meaning of the name Potawatomi actually mean?
The meaning of the name.
I don't know what I'm saying.
Just re-say it.
Yes, it was. No, it is, bro. What the heck?
You do it. Because you got the deep voice.
So what does the meaning of Potawatomi?
No, say what is the meaning?
Oh my gosh.
Don't.
Catch me outside, Howard.